Hello guys, welcome to another video. And today we finally got some news on Path of Exile 1. It's been an extremely long wait, and obviously we had that video that came out just a few days back where Jonathan basically explained that they haven't really been working on Path of Exile 1 at all, and 3.26 isn't really progressed anywhere close to being able to be released. And so it was a bit doomer there for a few days. I think a lot of people were very disappointed, and rightly so, especially if you're a Path of Exile 1 fan and you're not interested in PoE2. And so today we've got this new update for PoE1, and really this should have been something that was in with that video, right? I think initially when GGG actually made that announcement, when Jonathan actually went on camera and spoke about how they haven't been working on 3.26, they should have had something lined up for some kind of event, or, you know, some new events that they're going to put out to tide people over until that content does eventually come out. So we've got an update here, and it says, we announced last week some unfortunate news regarding the timeline for 3.26 for Path of Exile 1, and coming out of that, we've adjusted some of our internal resources to be able to provide you with some content to fill the time until that expansion arrives. To start with, we'll be running a 1-month event that has some of our wacky ideas that never quite made it off the brainstorm board. So I actually remember a Chris Wilson interview. I think it was from back around the time of patch 3.15, when Chris went on a bunch of different podcasts and he discussed, you know, there was a bit of outrage with the balance and things like that. But in some of those interviews, we actually got a bit more insight into GGG's whole development process for coming up with league mechanics and things like that. And he actually said in one of those interviews that they have a bunch of ideas that are just kind of left on the back burner. They're ideas that never really came to anything that perhaps progressed a little bit further than just being a name, you know, on a board, but never really got into that full development process. And this is obviously one of those ideas. So this post continues on. It says, what does Path of Exile 1 look like when the 19 Ascendancy classes you know and are familiar with are all of a sudden replaced by a different 19? What does Path of Exile 1 look like when you get to play as a witch and ascend to become a harbinger? These are the questions our design team asked each other, and in this event we'll provide you with some of our answers. So this is basically going to be a reset, a new event that's coming out. It's going to be a 1-month long event, and the 19 Ascendancy classes are going to be replaced with 19 new ones. So that is actually really interesting from a build perspective, making your own build, theory crafting and things like that. So I'm really excited for this one. I think they're going to go crazy in terms of the new Ascendancies. They want to basically make a fun league for the PoE1 players, because, I mean, as much as we're disappointed, I'm sure internally they're also really disappointed, especially reading a bunch of the outrage that came out, you know, after that post. So this is going to be a fun 1-month event, but what is this event going to be? We have 19 new Ascendancy classes, it looks like. That's kind of the idea that they're going with, and that's going to be the whole sort of concept of what this event's going to be based around. And that got me thinking, there's going to be a harbinger for the witch, so that's going to be one of the classes. But I think it's really interesting to actually look at what they could be doing in this event league. I kind of had the idea to look through all of the previous leagues that GGG have put out, and there is just so much stuff they can pull from here with ideas for different ascendancies and different concepts that they could go with. And really, it's just a case of them adding a new artwork, you know, for an ascendancy, and then just putting some modifiers on the nodes, and that's pretty much it. So there's a lot of potential there for what they could do, and it's not really that difficult for them to actually do it. And that means that I think they can just go completely crazy with this. So, you know, they said about the Harbinger, the Witch becoming a Harbinger. There's just so much other stuff here. Look, there could be a Breach Lord, for example, some kind of Breach Ascendancy. That's kind of interesting. There could be an Abyssal Lich. A lot of potential there. Perhaps the character becomes Einhar, right? You become the Beastmaster yourself. You no longer need Einhar because you are the Beastmaster. So that's kind of interesting. Incursions there. Could see some Varl-themed Ascendancies. There's actually a lot you could do there, right? That could be 2 or 3 or even 4 different Ascendancies, just Varl-themed Ascendancies. We got Delve. There could be an Ascendancy that is just kind of Azurite fueled. You know, maybe it's just like completely addicted to Azurite, and there's some kind of stuff going on there with collecting Azurite or something. Who knows? There's just a lot of ideas they can pull from here. Betrayal, perhaps that's kind of a minion monster spec or something. Maybe you can call on your Immortal Syndicate members to help you in a map or something like that. There's just so many ideas here that they could go for with different leagues and, different ascendancies, that I think this is going to be a really fun league. They may also want to pull ideas from, things like the Pantheon, for example. There's a bunch of ideas they could take for different ascendancies there. And they may even take ideas from Path of Exile 2. Because, there's a bunch of ascendancies in Path of Exile 2 that are not in PoE1, so they may take some ideas from that as well. But I will say that 1 month is maybe a bit short. I mean, we'll have to see exactly how it goes, of course, but at 1 month long, I'm not sure how many different ascendancies you'll be able to experiment with realistically, right? Obviously, in Path of Exile 1, you can swap between ascendancies, so, within your class, you can swap between those 3 ascendancies, which means that you are going to be able to experiment between those 3 ascendancies, but you may want to make, several builds on several different ascendancies that come from several different classes, in which case, 1 month isn't all that long. And we actually get a bit more here, because it says, in this post, it kind of says, to start with, we'll be running a 1 month event, and there's also more to announce here. We'll keep you updated as we know. So I think there's going to be more than just a 1 month event, but my guess is they're kind of planning to place this 1 month event. Maybe it's going to start towards the end of this month, and then when this event actually finishes is when I expect that 0.2.0 for Path of Exile 2 is going to be released around that time. So, probably looking at around the end of March or beginning or middle of April for that Path of Exile 2 patch. And so the whole idea here is that we have this 1 month event that's going to be able to tide us over for Path of Exile 1. But it also looks like there's going to be some more things going on with Path of Exile 1, because what I expect is we'll get this 1 month event, then we'll have the Path of Exile 2 patch, and probably maybe a month and a half or 2 months after that, we might get some more events, because I don't really expect to see PoE 3.26 until perhaps the middle of 2025, maybe even later than that, because all of their focus is going to be on PoE 2. I am pretty excited for this announcement. I'm not going to lie, I've been wanting to log in and play PoE1 for quite a while now, but for me, I'm one of those people where if I'm kind of burned out on the current league, even a reset of that league, for example, I didn't play the Necro Cecilers event because I just wasn't really interested in it. I couldn't get myself into it. And for me, it's one of those things where it's got to be a new release, like something new going on. It can't really be like a re-release or a relaunch of a previous thing, because I'm already burned out on that. I'm not really interested in starting that again. So this is going to be really fun, I think. The Ascendancy classes are one of my favorite things in Path of Exile. I love what they do for buildcraft. So, 19 new Ascendancies, that's going to be a lot of fun. I wonder if we're going to actually get the information for what these Ascendancies do, before the league actually starts. Even if that's just like a text document from GDG, if they just put a post up with all of the modifiers in text, I'd be happy with that. We don't need any kind of like specialized images like they did for PoE2, right? Just the Ascendancies in text would be really nice, so we know what's going on there. But yeah, I'm excited to log in, guys. When is this going to happen? I mean, they say that they're going to update us soon. We haven't actually got a date here for when this is going to happen, but I kind of expect this is going to happen this month. I think it'll probably be towards the end of February is when this is going to start. So that's it for this one, guys. New Path of Exile 1 event league starting soon. Log in.